Hi guys, welcome back to Uncut Hawaii, where Andrew and I get to interview Hawaii's top and most innovative creators, entrepreneurs, and change makers. And we are halfway through March.
Yeah, crazy. I can't believe it's March already. February like flew by. January is kind of slow. But yeah, now we're in March. We're like almost done with the season.
Yeah.
Over a year into our career, our podcast career now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's so crazy. I know.
It's crazy to look back and just like think about like what we started and how we're continuing it.
Yeah. I know. It's been a wild journey. And I love just like, it takes, taking time to like look back like these times where I'm like, wow, I'm so proud of us.
Yeah. I think just like the fact that we're still here, being consistent and like, because I mean, I don't know if our listeners know, but we live pretty busy lives. You're a mom, you're a business owner. I have the 2 businesses I'm running, just like my babies right now. And it's like takes so much time, and like for us to do this, for you to fly in every single time. Like,
You're always flying too.
Yeah, I'm actually heading back out like next week.
Yeah. Japan, like second time in this year.
I get to go to Japan 3 times this year. I'm stoked.
Really?
Yeah. 3rd time's for work, but the 2nd time, like, we're gonna go and try to catch the cherry blossoms. We're celebrating like 2 of our friends' birthdays out there. But Megan can't drink.
Are we doing that right now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy.
I feel like you should wait.
Nah, maybe not. I should ask Megan.
You should ask Megan.
Well, I'm going to Japan and we're celebrating 2 birthdays out there, and
I hate your life sometimes. I'm like,
I get to go 3 times this year. I'm stoked. I felt like we've been like Japan deprived, so we need to go.
So when you get to Japan, what's the first thing that you eat and drink?
Kind of depends what time we fly in, but usually late at night, like the Family Mart or something's open. Boom, grab like a musubi with
egg salad sandwich.
Nah, that's too late for that already, for an egg sandwich. But like I get like a fried chicken. That's like the best thing out there.
The katsu sandwich?
No, just a fried chicken. And then I eat it with a musubi. And then if I'm feeling it, like drink a beer, like strong zero. I'm so excited.
Or a highball. Do you like highballs?
Yeah, highballs are good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the strongs hit really good too. Oh man, I love Japan. I wish I was there right now. I can't wait next week.
My gosh, you're so lucky.
What about you? Anything exciting coming up?
Now I'm just thinking about Japan. Just like let's just talk about Japan and like just imagine being there right now. The first time I ever went to Japan, I got there like at midnight or something, and then my business partner was like, "We're gonna go eat," and I was like, what time is it? And we ordered like it was like hamachi. I don't know. It wasn't ahi. It was something else. But it came out like this giant, like half a fish with like a tiny little thing of rice at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I was so embarrassed. I was like, that is a crazy amount of fish for like a little tiny thing of rice. And then I ordered a bowl of rice. And my business partner was like, that's so embarrassing.
That was your first time?
Yeah.
When was the last time you went?
I think 2018. Was it 2018 or 2019?
Too long.
Way too long.
Way too long. You need to go with the family.
It was 2018 because it was celebrating our 10-year for Aria Studios.
Should we go for our 1-year uncut?
Yeah, let's go. Peter, I'm going to Japan.
yeah, we're celebrating uncut. 1 year.
Oh man. But the food and the drinks and the people,
the culture, everything.
Oh. Yeah, so amazing.
Yeah, one of my favorite countries for sure.
Yeah.
We're in episode 8 now.
That's like 2/3 into our season already.
I don't know. I keep thinking about that meeting we had like just like 2 weeks ago, and like it's exciting, and I hope we have something crazy to announce soon. But
we will have something to announce very soon.
It happened already. It's going to be...
It happened.
Like right up here somewhere. Right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
Uncut. Presented by blank.
But season 3, episode 8, now we have Teal from Cocokealohi. If you haven't seen her on Instagram or anything yet, Cocokealohi, she makes these amazing pāpale hats. And just her story, she started like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right before the pandemic.
Yeah, right before the pandemic, working a 9-to-5 job. Had this spare of the moment idea to create these tirabuan pāpales out of coconut leaves, palms. And she blew up.
Yeah.
Like,
And this is all just social media.
Yeah.
We talked about how like she posts on social media consistently, how she takes the orders, how she like kind of does everything herself right now, and how it's just been growing, and like her current struggles and how she like plans on dealing with all that.
Yeah, that's the first time that we had somebody on talking about starting a business and it being strictly like Instagram and using that to her advantage. And she wasn't really like an Instagram person really before. Like it wasn't like she had a huge following. So she talked about like getting the first 10,000, and now I don't know, she's like close to 100,000 followers. But yeah, super inspiring. And it's interesting to see this part of her business journey where she's like in the growth phase. So I
because
think
we've all been there, and it's exciting.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people like that. A lot of people fear it, but it's exciting for a lot of people, and we're excited to share her story.
Teal, welcome to Uncut.
Hi,
thank you for
having
being
me.
here, and thank you for bringing your beautiful pāpale.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here right now. It's crazy.
No, it's crazy because we always see you like posting and resharing, and you know we know each other outside of all this and whatnot, and it's been so cool to see your journey as an entrepreneur, growing this business and expanding and always like changing it up. Like, you know, started with this and then you started making other things, and then I just saw that you just made a bag yesterday. Like, what the heck? Like, like, how do you even make these things out of like just these palms, you know?
That's crazy.
So let's go all the way back and talk about where this idea came from, or even before that. So you grew up in Aiea?
So I grew up in Aiea. I come from a pretty big family. I went to Moanalua, and then I ended up going to college in Arizona. So I ended up going to Grand Canyon University, and that's where I majored in entrepreneurial studies.
Oh.
So prior to that...
Kind of already knew then you wanted to do this.
Yeah. Prior to that, I pretty much grew up around business. So my dad has a business, so he makes Hawaiian decals. So his main thing is he does a lot of like Hawaii designs or like Hawaii themed things, and he sells it to the food lands that are in like the touristy spots. So when I was little, I would go to the stores with him to drop it off. I would like package all the orders. So I think by that time I like kind of knew I had an interest in it.
It's kind of like a family business. Was it kind of like a family business? Did it feel like it?
Yeah, it did. Because even I was probably the main one that was helping him, while all my other siblings were like, I don't know, doing their own thing. But I was like the main one that was pretty much helping him. I don't know. I think because he relied on me so much, that's where I kind of like got into it.
And he probably knew that you liked it, or you didn't mind it.
Yeah. Because I would even go to his, I think it was Made in Hawaii, but he would be in Made in Hawaii, and I would be there like taking the money and like writing receipts and everything. So by then, actually, when I was doing the Made in Hawaii, I liked the transaction. I like talking to the people and like, I don't know, just being around like all the business people is what I enjoyed. So that's where I really knew like I wanted to get into it, and that's why I majored in entrepreneurial studies.
Nice. And then so you went to school for that, and you know, continuing to help your dad in the business and whatnot. So did you start a business right off the bat, or like what were you doing?
So actually in college, my senior year, I forgot what the name of the class was, but the main project was to start a business from the beginning to the end and run it through, and the end result would be our grade.
Oh, nice.
So in college, I really thought I wanted to start like some kind of bikini company, because I was like, okay, we're from Hawaii, and like I thought I could do it differently. And I started like looking for manufacturers. I started like trying to source everything, and I think the startup cost was like $30,000 to $40,000. And right out of college, I obviously didn't have the money, so I was like, okay, maybe I have to put it on hold. So I put it on hold.
So do people in this program, do they actually start the business? Like it's like you actually file to start this business, and then you work the business as part of your...
No.
Oh, okay.
Everything's just like you're acting like it, but you have to pretty much like write everything on paper. Yeah.
Did you move back home? You moved back home?
Yeah, I moved back home. Maybe like a month later, that's when I started working for Enterprise Rental Car. I think the starting salary when I was applying was like 50 grand. So I was like, oh.
Out of college? Just like,
Yeah. Because enterprise, everybody has to start at one level. So you enter at a management trainee, and from there you work your way up. So literally everybody that applies, you have to start at that position. Which is good, which I like. Yeah. But back then I was like, oh, 50 grand. Okay, if I live with my parents, save all my money, the 50 grand is what I would use to start the bikini business.
Okay, so that was your mindset going into that.
Yeah. Because I was like, I'm living at home. I don't really have any big bills. So if I can save majority of it, that could be the money that I invest.
So 2018, you started Enterprise.
So I was at Enterprise probably 2 years before I started Cocokealohi. I made my first hat pretty much. I don't know like what sparked it, but something, I really don't know. But like I randomly had a thought like I wanted to make a hat. So my boyfriend was like, what do we need to make a coconut hat? And I was like, I think we need a coconut leaf.
Okay, so before this, you hadn't like been doing it, learned how to do it. You just taught yourself how to make one.
It was just like a random thought.
Yeah. Random thought.
Okay, so then you followed on this random thought.
And these were in by then. Like this was kind of trendy and people were doing like the tira-bun hats.
Or like, did you see it or something? Or like,
no,
you're just like, let's just make one?
Yeah, it was so random. I really don't even know. Like randomly, well, I always wanted one. I've seen it before, but I could never really find somebody to make it exactly like how I wanted to. So I don't know. I like randomly thought of it. And literally that day that I thought of it, we went to my dad's house. We got like one of those extended saws and we were like searching pretty much the whole IAF for a coconut tree, but they're all so tall. So I was like, how his stick was like, I don't know, 6 feet. I'm like, how the hell are we going to get that?
So what did you do?
So we were literally driving around for like hours and hours and we seen a short one and my boyfriend's like, I think this is the one we need. And I'm like, no, it's not the one. And he's like, well, we can't get any other one. So we have to try with this one. So we ended up trying with this one, and to this day, it's one of the best. So they're each tree is very different, like the thickness of the leaf, like the green, like even though they're coconut, they're like each tree is a little different. And that tree to this day is probably like one of the best trees that will make the nicest hats.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Where did you find this tree? I guess we shouldn't like give away your secret.
It was in IAEA, and
someone's house. But
it
you don't even
was
know.
It was. It was in her. It was in her backyard, and I like knocked on the door. It was this little Asian lady, and she was like, "Oh, I don't care. I've never touched a tree since I've been here, so you can take as many as you want."
Nice.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So we ended up picking some that day. I went home. I tried to make one. I think it took like 6 hours, and it ended up looking like, I don't know, like a bowl kind of. So I ended up throwing it away, and I was like, okay, I can't do it. I'll just buy one.
Wait, so how do you even know how to make it? Did you like watch a YouTube
So
video?
you watched the tutorial.
Yeah, so I watched a tutorial, but all the tutorials online, they're all in like different countries, and they do it so fast, and they don't speak English, so you really like don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like the video quality is kind of junk.
So not really a tutorial.
Yeah, like, but I could get like the gist of it.
So
Which
then you made the first one. Didn't look as good as you wanted it.
Yeah.
But you kept trying.
I was actually going to give up, and my boyfriend's like, I'll go out and I'll get another one for you. So he actually did. And he's like, just try again. And I was like, no, I don't want to try again. I'll just buy one. And he's like, I already picked you the leaf. Like, here you go. Just try again. And I tried again. And the second time, it actually came out pretty decent. Not as nice as this, but it you could tell what it was. And that night, I took pictures of it. I posted it to my personal Instagram. And I want to say overnight, I had like 50, 60 people messaging me, asking me to make them one.
Wow. So this is back in 2020 or 2019?
I want to say January 2020.
Right
right before COVID.
So right before the pandemic, you had this idea. You acted on it. You posted on social media. And then people hit you up for orders. So like, what was going through your mind at that moment?
Now you have to make. Now you need to make 50 pāpale.
Yeah, and that took you like hours.
What was crazy was I was already collecting money with only making one. So I was like, oh my God, I already took $40 from all these people. I how am I going to make, yeah. And one took me like 6 hours and I was like doing the math in my head. I was like, okay, how am I going to make 50 when one takes me 6 hours? But I feel like because I felt like I really needed to deliver, I had to keep practicing. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what like kind of helped me is I already knew that I had to make it and I already took the money. So I pretty much just went with it.
And they were wanting it ready to give you money based on only your second hat ever.
Yeah,
So
your
it's only
first post on social media. Yeah.
Yeah. And that night, I thought of a business name. I made my dad. It's literally the same logo. He created that logo.
Oh, Dad, graphic designer. Yeah.
He created it that night. And I made an Instagram and pretty much just started posting from there.
So that was kind of like overnight then. You kind of
Literally
just like did it, posted it, and then that entrepreneur spirit in you kind of just like, let's do something from this, and you did it.
Yeah,
so how did you end up being able to keep up with the orders? Because probably after that first post, if you posted a second one, then was that like getting messages and like people wanting you to make? So how did you keep up if you're taking like 6 hours to make one hat?
Well, I got better. So I think by my like 10th one, I could do it under maybe like an hour.
Oh, okay.
But the first 50 was like friends and family. So I was like, okay, if it's ugly, I'm still going to give it to you. And you're still going to wear it. But I was still working at Enterprise at the time. And I was there from 7 to like 5. I would come home, try to like cook dinner, try to get a workout in. And then I would literally weave from like 8 at night to like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. And then go back to work the next day.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would even bring some to work and I would like weave it on my lunch break. I would like sit in the custodian office or whatever in the back and I would literally just sit on the floor and weave for my hour lunch.
Wow.
Yeah.
The hustle.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like, how did your team take that, or like, you know, like your like Enterprise, like what was that like?
Luckily, I had really good managers at the time, and I was really close with them. She would like let me take longer lunches. Sometimes I would see people like cutting trees while we're driving around, and I would tell her, I'd be like, "Oh my God, there's somebody cutting like down the street. Can I go run really quick?"
Are you serious?
Yeah. So she'd be like, "Just clock out and go and take as much time as you want." So honestly,
so cool.
and I didn't mind because I was like, I didn't mind taking off of work and losing some of the money to go do my own thing. So sometimes she'd be like, if you need to take like 2-3 hours and like pretty much try to get as much done as I could.
Nice. I wish I had like a supportive manager.
Yeah.
You spoke a little bit about how you got some of your product. So
you just like follow
you
all
just
these
follow
like,
the tree
yard
trimmers
people.
and stuff. Yeah. So tell us about that process.
That's a whole other thing. So during COVID, when I was working at Enterprise, it was like a big thing. Like they didn't know if they wanted to shut down completely. They didn't know. Yep. So they were laying off people like left and right. And at the time, everybody was like scared. They were like, oh my God, we're going to get laid off, yada, yada, yada. And honestly, I was like hoping and wishing that they would lay me off so I could do this.
Yeah.
And the hire manager at the time, he like brought me in and he was like, you're like one of the hardworking people, like the hardest working people. We're not going to fire you. You're going to be the one like to stay. And I was like, damn. Yeah, they didn't know if they wanted to like stay open. They didn't know what they want to do. So we ended up delivering. We had to deliver every single car to whoever wanted to rent. So we would literally...
Oh, I didn't know they did that.
I remember that,
yeah.
Wow.
So a lot of it was like local people that like got into accidents and they need to rent a car while their car's in the shop. And they would be like, I'm at, I don't know, whatever address, and this is my workplace. Can you drop it off here? So we would literally drive anywhere and everywhere. So...
Drop off cars.
So
and Teal was just like checking out all
Yeah.
Actually, because when COVID first started, I was at the Waipahu location. So Waipahu location pretty much took care of Wahiawa all the way to like Yokohama Bay. So we had like the whole, I don't know, north section of Oahu. Yeah, whenever we'd like have to deliver to Haleiwa, we'd be like driving and I literally see people like cutting on the side of the road. I would stop, pick some up, throw it in the trunk of the rental car. And I would get their number. I'd be like, hey, this is what I do. Like, if you don't mind, we swap numbers and you just call me or text me whenever you have. So I made pretty good connections with like 10 different companies, and whenever they're cutting, they just call me. I pull up and they just throw it in my truck.
Oh, that's
Nice.
so.
So instead of
so
like
great.
them dumping it,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and letting
Yeah.
it go to waste.
Yeah.
You're just using that and repurposing it, and
And
that's awesome.
actually, on top of that, I had a neighbor. He used to see me dragging in these leaves into our apartment, and he'd be like, "What the hell are you doing with those leaves?" And I would tell him, and he'd be like, "Well, actually, I have a tree trimming company." So
Nice. That
yeah,
worked out
it like
really well.
totally worked out. So honestly, if it wasn't for him, I don't know how much farther I would have gone, because trying to source these guys are so hard. And he, whenever they're cutting, he'd bring home like 10 branches and be like, "Here you go."
Wow.
So
it's a
yeah.
good support system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, I don't know what happened to him, but he doesn't live there anymore. But yeah, he definitely saved. He probably helped the first, I don't know, couple months of my business, because that was when I was first starting.
So you're pretty young in this company, I would say still. Like, how did you even take the steps towards turning this into something
Full-time.
Full-time. Because you're not an enterprise anymore. So tell us about like getting it to that point, and then like when was it where you were like, I can't be doing both. I need to focus on one thing. So
The transition
that-
period, because a lot of
Yeah.
people
That
will
leap of-
have
yeah.
these like side hustles, hoping that one day they'll be able to leave their full-time 9-to-5 job, but then a lot of people can't make that transition.
Yeah, it was honestly really, really hard for me. At the time when I was like thinking about quitting, the enterprise that I was working at, I like loved the people that I work with. So it was so hard for me to leave. But there was this one girl that I used to work with. Her name is Amanda. But we got super close, and I pretty much like used to come to work and tell her everything about Cocokealohi. I used to tell her like, "Oh my God, I have to deliver to this store. I have to do this." So she like kind of, I don't know, she pretty much knew everything. And she was like, "When are you gonna quit?" And I'm like, "I can't quit." Like, I don't know. It was just scary, I think, at the time. But once I knew I was making more doing this, and I realized I was having to turn down a lot of like opportunities for Cocokealohi, that's when I kind of like, I was like, okay, I'm turning down like opportunities, like money, because I'm at work. And even though I loved what I did, I think I saved a bunch of money before quitting. I think that definitely helped me not freak out as much. But I even typed out my, what is it called? Resignation. Yeah. And I threw it into my drafts, and I could never send it. And I was like, I need to quit. And I could never send it.
How long was it sitting there in your
Like
draft
6
folder?
months.
Wow.
Yeah. And one Friday, Amanda was sitting next to me, and she's like, "So are you going to quit? Or like, what are you thinking?" And I was like, "I want to, but I'm like so scared." She literally went into my drafts and she sent it.
Oh, shout out to Amanda then.
Yes.
We all
We
need that
still talk
friend.
about it to this day. She's like, "Remember when I went in your email and I like sent it for you?" And she was like, "Yeah, you probably still would have been at Enterprise if I didn't do that." But yeah.
So yeah, you took that leap of faith.
Well, Amanda did.
Shout out to Amanda. Amanda did it for you.
Shout out to Amanda.
Nah, but then so, how many orders were you doing at that time? Or like I guess from the beginning, like wait, you started with some like what was like how was that journey like of growth? What were the
Well,
orders
she was
coming
already
in?
not sleeping.
Yeah.
You can only go so long
Yeah.
without.
I feel like because I was young and I was like relying on coffee, I could do it. But at the beginning, I want to say like 50 to 100 a week.
Wow.
And you're doing this all by yourself.
Yeah.
50 to 100 a week.
Yeah.
Like, how can you, when you had your full-time job?
Yeah.
We should have had you
Holy
weaving one while we were recording.
I would literally bring like 10 to work on my lunch break every day and try to just bang it out. But I would do the first half at home. I would bring it to work and finish them at work.
Instead of bringing like the big
Yeah.
thing. yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
Boy, that's a
smokes.
lot.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. And people were just ordering through your, like, just DMing you?
Yeah.
So the power of social
So
media.
that's
then,
a whole
right?
other thing. Yeah. So
How did you use that to your advantage?
social media is wild, but I pretty much just kept taking pictures and posting every single day for my first year in business. And pretty much every time I would post a picture, I'd pretty much get a DM. So my first year of business, I was only taking orders through DM, which was so hectic at the time. Trying to like drive at work, and then my phone's like binging, 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 and I'm like getting orders, and I would like try to like reply and whatnot. But yeah, probably about 50 to 100, and that was all through DM. The first year, I want to say, was pretty crazy. I would post saying like orders are opening on this day at this time, and they would send a DM with their order at that time, and I would only take 50 to 100 a week because that's how much I knew I could.
So you had to like limit it pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And then I had people like complaining like, oh my God, we can never get in. And it was like so hard to keep up. I really couldn't. I think like because the demand was there and some people didn't get it, and like that's what kept, I don't know, like the demand
kind
there.
of like and that exclusivity.
Yeah.
Like there's only like a small
Supply
batch.
and demand,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I didn't really mind turning some down because I was like, I have to go to work anyways, and I have to get some sleep. So
okay, so now that you left Enterprise, what was that like? Like what was your plan after that? Like what were you gonna do? What were you gonna change?
I think when I quit Enterprise, I started doing workshops. I finally got good enough that I felt comfortable being able to teach other people.
It's basically you started a new product.
Yeah. And
Did you ever like along during this journey? So one, now this is your full-time thing. So this is like you're relying on it solely to take care of your expenses. Did you ever have a moment where like, I can't teach people how to make this because then it's like creating competition, or you not feeling like you can bring somebody on to teach them how to do it because then it would like take away business?
Definitely went through my head, but I don't know. I saw this thing where I forgot what the exact quote is. Like they can copy you, but they can never duplicate it, I guess. So I kept that in the back of my head, even though I was like kind of scared to teach people and was scared they would copy or whatever. But I think people like actually being able to make something on their own, and the workshop, I would charge more for the workshop versus the hat. So if somebody were to come and do a workshop, I would make more money from the workshop rather than just them buying a hat. So I think kind of knowing that, I was okay with it.
You're creating that experience for them too.
Yeah. And then I thought back to like everything I had to do to get this thing going. I was like, I don't think most people would do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because actually during COVID, there was a time where I couldn't find leaves. So me and my boyfriend would go out at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. We would like just go anywhere that we could find a tree and we would cut it.
Really? Seeing where?
Yeah.
No, yeah, we would go out at like in the
free
middle of the
tree
night.
trimming. But they don't know it.
It was never anybody's house.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah,
parks
yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah,
Skinny.
The hustle though. No, respect that. So okay, so right now you're still kind of doing things by yourself, the support of your boyfriend. But like did you ever bring in like your family, or like did you ever bring in any help or anything? Like how were you able to manage all these orders?
Yeah, so during that first year, my sister was away at college, but she ended up coming back home during COVID because everything shut down. When she was at home, my sister's very, very like crafty, and she's like a DIY type of person. So this is like totally up her alley. I pretty much just sat her down and I taught her how to make it. And either her first or her second hat, she pretty much caught on. So there was a point where she was making more than me because she had more time, I think. And she ended up getting really good. So I definitely relied on her, and she was making a bunch of them during that COVID year. And then she had to go back to college. So I lost her, but she definitely helped me through like the busiest time. Other than that, I hired like my brothers to help me do little stuff. Like sometimes I'll hire them to like wash the leaves, or sometimes I'll tell them to like cut it or pack my orders.
So you're still pretty much doing everything yourself.
Yeah, which is another struggle, but
Yeah. So how many do you do now? So now it's been like almost 3 years.
Yeah, 3
3
years.
So are you still keeping up with that same kind of rate? Like 100 a week sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like how can you do 100 of those a week?
So now I don't make as many of them actually. I just sell some online. Online I get maybe like 25 to 50 a week, but I actually have maybe like 75 wholesalers.
Wow.
Nice.
So across Hawaii, I have one in California, one in Florida, one in Vegas and Utah. So now I pretty much just make and ship to the stores.
How did you set that up? Like, was that like something that fell into your lap, or like did you actively pursue that because that's something you wanted to get into?
Instagram is my biggest helper in this whole entire process. I want to say every retailer that I have either found me on Instagram or found me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
well,
pretty
because
much,
you're so busy just
Yeah.
making them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have time to be marketing,
Yeah.
really. Like,
Yeah.
reaching out and, like, looking for different opportunities. You're just trying to keep up.
So I guess we can talk about that, like the power of social media, right? So, I mean, a lot of people on social media right now, and everybody's using it for personal, for business, and all that. And it's like, it could be a bad thing, but it's also a very strong and powerful marketing tool that a lot of people, want to ignore, but you can't, And so
Yeah,
it's like, how did you
100%.
tap into that and really, I guess, just like use it to its max potential? I mean, that's all you did. You just posted, and at
Yeah.
first you're starting with the DMs, and then now you have an online shop, and it led you to these retailers and stuff. So
My first year in business, I think I hit 10,000 followers in that first year. And I remember like thinking like, oh my God, I made it. This is crazy. And
Now you're at, like,
yeah, it's crazy.
way more.
yeah,
But I think understanding Instagram's algorithm, trying to take like nice, I don't know, pictures. I like to do like reels where I will do a time lapse either like on a workshop or like me making the hat. And it was really then I think I posted my first reel of me just making it, and it like blew up, and I think overnight it was like another 10,000 followers, and I was like, "Oh my God." So the first 10,000 was hard, and then after it kind of flowed easily.
What has worked for you, though? Because lots of people talk about knowing the secret to the Instagram algorithm. So what
Yeah.
has worked for you? The reels?
I feel like I'm lucky. I don't know, because I feel like my product is so
So unique.
pretty and unique. Yeah, so that definitely the reels, but it's the reels of me doing a time lapse, like actually sitting and making the hat that people like. And I try to go to like switch it up, and I go to like the beach, or I'll like do a hike and I'll do it in the mountains or wherever. But a lot of people actually aren't from Hawaii, so they don't get to see that. And I think making the hat and like having the nice background,
a lot of elements to it.
Yeah,
and you're
like people
really
enjoy.
taking advantage of it, so it's good. No, that's awesome. You started with the hats, and then what kind of pushed you to take it to, like, what kind of were your steps to kind of grow the business, right?
You know what's crazy is every time I doubted myself and I was like, this isn't gonna work, or I was like slow and I was like, okay, maybe I need to find a job. Every time I had like a moment of self-doubt, something would happen. So the first time I had the first moment of self-doubt after quitting Enterprise, I think because I had the income from Enterprise that I could really lean on, and obviously I didn't have that anymore. Ko'olina, 4 Seasons, they reached out to me and they were like, we want you to come like I forgot what it was, like Friday, Saturday, and we want you to teach at our hotel. So that was my first ever hotel that I got.
It's all through social media too. It's crazy.
Yeah.
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 So now, I think I'm at maybe like 10 or 11 different hotels. So once I started posting from the workshops at Ko'olina, all the other hotels would like see. And then literally after I posted that reel, I had like 4 or 5 other hotels emailing me like the next day asking, they like wanted to do something similar. So I think once I saw the demand for the workshops and the hotel, that's when I knew I should pretty much pursue that.
What was another big moment that, like, big opportunity that came from just kind of keep the consistency of doing it?
The Bremer Rock thing was actually pretty cool. I feel like that came from social media, but and Andrew, but
Yeah, that's huge.
yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I mean, he was the one that was like, hey, I want to make these hats, and we made it happen and whatnot. But again, I think that was through social media. He noticed you on there, and he already had like your product, so that was nice.
After we filmed that video, I think I did a reel or like a time lapse too. After he posted the video, So I make these kits where people can, I pretty much pack a leaf, I pack all the materials that they need, and I sell that as a set. So it's
so they can make their own?
Yeah. So I filmed a tutorial with Andrew. I posted it on YouTube so people could purchase the kit on my website and then go on my YouTube, follow the tutorial, and they could do it at home.
Nice.
So after we filmed the video with Bretman, he posted it. I had the kits.
Oh, that's when you were like dropping your kit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't even drop the kits yet, but Bretman texted me like that morning and he's like, hey, I'm going to post the video today. And I was like, oh my God, I have nothing on my website. Like, I wasn't prepared. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to put the kits on my website and I'll just learn as I go. And I think overnight I had like 500 orders for the kits.
Yeah.
Did you have 500 kits?
So well, the kits are something else because you have to package it fresh because by the time you ship it, it only lasts like, I don't know,
Because the leaves turn brown, yeah.
Yeah, like 3 to 5 days. So you have to ship it. You have to package it, ship it like same day. But I made a note on my website, like turnaround time was between, I don't know, 4 and 6 weeks. So they knew they had to wait, but
That's crazy.
I woke up overnight and I was like,
Holy.
so I was literally sitting and packing kits for, I don't know, the next like month or so.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
which is awesome.
Do you still have those kits? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Because like you said, that you through workshops, you realize like people actually want to make their own and like say that they made this. Yeah.
Well, I first got the idea because I had people reaching out to me in like Idaho or like random places and they're like, we really want to come to Hawaii, but we obviously can't. It was during COVID too. So that's when I had the idea. I was like, maybe I can like package something where I can ship it to you and you
send
can
a little
do it
bit
at
of
home.
Hawaii to them.
And it actually was a lot of Hawaii people that moved away and they wanted to make one. So yeah, that definitely ended up working out.
Nice. Yeah, that's such a smart product because like you saw the opportunity there and you like jumped on it. So yeah.
And it works out because it's about the same cost, maybe a little less, the cost of the kit and the hat. But the kit takes me 2 minutes to pack.
Right.
Yeah,
And
just
the
like
hat.
weaving it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's interesting, like that the time sensitivity to it. So you have, by the time that you pick the leaf, like you cut it, like how long do you have before it starts to turn?
Ideally, you want to weave between either that day or the next. Starting the 3rd, 4th, and 5th day, it'll start to dry. But the way that I do it with the kits, when I package it into the little package, I like mist it with water so that it kind of lasts.
A little more time.
So with the water, I did like the test and it was good for like 7 to 10 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think the water just helps keep it like hydrated. And because it's sealed, all the moisture kind of just stays in. So that definitely helps.
Were there any challenges with like the kits or even just the hats? Like, were there any challenges as you were like growing your brand, like at this phase of the business?
Yeah, so the biggest challenge I want to say is sourcing the leaves. I want to say maybe midway, the demand was there and there weren't any trees that we could cut at night. And I was like, okay, without the leaves, obviously I can't make them. So I was like driving around and I was like, I don't know. I was just like looking and I was like, there has to be somewhere or something. So I actually ended up driving to a farm in Pearl City. And they have maybe about a couple hundred trees across their little farm. So I went in and I was like, hey, told him what I did. And I was like, can I like come pick leaves? And he's like, actually, so this was like maybe the end of COVID. He was like, we've been having a hard time finding workers to I guess upkeep their farm and their nursery. So he was like, if you can like clean up a little bit and like just make sure that you cut the leaves on the bottom, we can like do a trade or whatever that way. So I was like pretty much helping them upkeep their farm, but at the same time it was benefiting me.
Nice.
So that was like a big turning point because having 200 trees that I can actually go to was definitely like the game changer.
You still go there? Is that still your main? Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you don't have to like go at 2 a.m. anymore.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But even at 200 trees, if you're making 50 to 100 a week, like do they produce enough palms for you to
So
really...
I kind of like plan it. They have like trees in rows, so I'll just work my way down, and by the time I'm at the end, the first tree.
Nice. Okay.
So I think the tree actually only goes through like 4 or 5 cycles a year, and each cycle is about 6 leaves.
Oh,
But
okay.
one leaf can make about 8 hats.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But I don't know. Thinking about it, the time of the kits, I don't even know.
You made it happen, though. You made it happen.
Made it happen. That's so cool. That's good problem solving.
Yeah.
And that's like, as an entrepreneur, growing a business, that's like the name of the game.
Yeah. The part that I'm at right now is I know I need to hire because I literally work 24/7. If it's not, so I do like a hotel workshop in the morning, normally about like 9 to 11. I'll go to my studio, I'll pack orders from like 12 to 3, and then I'll go home and I'll make hats from 3 to like 7 or 8. But sometimes I'll book like private workshops. So I'll book the private workshop normally in like the later evening, like 5, 6 o'clock.
And they'll push their schedule back.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then I'll have to come home and I'll have to weave
Oh my gosh.
into like the hours of the night.
Oh
Dang.
my gosh.
And this is like every day for you right now.
Yeah.
That's not even counting like
This.
picking
Yeah.
this and picking and then like washing. You said you got wash and cut
Yeah.
and also need to help them with their farm.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
part is the part that you like the most?
I think being able to talk to people and like, so either the market or the workshops, because if it's not that, I'm sitting at home by myself, pretty much just making hats.
And that's what you said you liked when you were growing up, you know, the transaction
so
part
I
of
like
it.
like the interaction and just getting to like talk to people, and even at the markets. So I do Cocokealohi farmers market a lot, and just being able to like talk to all like the other like fellow entrepreneurs is what I enjoy, and like getting to talk to the customers. And if it's not for that, then I don't really get it. So I think that's definitely my favorite part.
So you're getting to the point where like if you want to grow more, like
Yeah.
you're gonna need to bring on some help.
Yeah. So it's basically the workshops. I have to turn down a bunch because I just can't take anymore. And when my sister was home last year, I sent her to a bunch, and a lot of them were like, "Oh, we were expecting the other girl."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, just do the workshop. Just tell them, like, you're there to do the workshop. Like, everything's going to go smoothly. So I had to, like, walk her through it. So that was a whole nother thing where I was like, okay, yeah, I can bring on people to teach and to make hats. But that's, like, my struggle. Probably my biggest struggle right now is, like, finding the right people and then having to go through the process of, like, teaching. I feel like seems like a pretty big process, but... like,
Well, and something like this, you know that it's like gonna take that person 6 hours to make a hat, their first hat. So, and you're at the point where it takes you how long to make one?
like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's
About.
crazy. You're probably
So
not even like
crazy.
thinking about it
Yeah.
anymore and just do it. But yeah, I mean, every business gets to that point, and I think, you know, you're there. I mean, I've talked to you through the whole process, and it's like now you're at this point where you're growing so quickly and expanding, and you're gonna need to grow because you can't do everything, you know. So I know we talked a lot about in our other podcasts about like people's teams and, you know, being able to like delegate and letting go and like how they grew from that. So it's like it's important. And
For the sustainability of your company,
Yep.
if you want it to go
Right.
to keep growing, because you could also just be like, well, everyone is handmade by Teal. The price is gonna go up, obviously,
Yeah.
but you could grow that way. But it just seems like there's just way too many people who want a hat.
Yeah. And my hands, oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure I have arthritis. Like,
Oh yeah,
I can't imagine. All right, Kolby, what advice would you give to you, or like a
well, my
young
biggest thing
entrepreneur?
right now is I have a hard time of like letting go of control. That's like my
that's a big
biggest
one.
thing.
That's tough.
Yeah, I think we struggle with that as creators too, because we're like, nobody's gonna do it like I can.
It's our baby.
Yeah.
You know.
So one of my mentors told me when I had the same problem when I was growing is that you just create a system. And
Andrew talks about that.
Yeah. So it's like people call it SOP, system of procedure, where it's like foolproof. Like a 5-year-old could not fuck this up. Like one, scrub the leaf, whatever it is, even if it sounds stupid to you, because to you it's just second nature already. You just do it and you know how to do it and you don't even think about it.
True.
But then to reverse engineer it and be like, hey, number one, pick whatever this way. Even like how you do, like how you pick the leaf, it has to be like a system. And then this is also the part that's going to be really, it's going to really suck because it's going to take a lot of time to be like, okay, how do I do this and how do I write this step-by-step thing that I already know how to do it, but I'm going to have to teach somebody how to do it. And so it just takes time. But then the more like detail you can make your system, the more foolproof it can be. So
true.
And then just having somebody that you feel like aligns to your values and that would, you know, show up on time. Just like those little things, like we'll work hard, we'll show up on time, that is a person of their word. Like everybody that I have on my team, like they're such good people and I just trust them, you know, they're just good people. And so you know, it's easy to trust them as people. It's easy to trust them in work. And so they'll follow your SOP, your system, and you'll be able to you'll be able to, like, it's going to be amazing because once that happens, and it is a process, but once that happens, you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm free. Yeah. And then you can set your sights on bigger things, you know?
I had a little taste of it because when I had my sister on and I sent her to the workshop, I'm like, I'm going to pay you this much, but whatever. And just the feeling of not having to do it was like the best feeling ever. And I think I was on vacation at the time. Yeah.
And not just that, but like you know, as you get older, yes, money's a factor to a lot of things, but it's like something that you value more is time, your time and your energy. And so being able to do this, yes, it's going to take so much time to just sit down and write down your SOP and every single step. But then like it's all this front load of work, but then you're going to see it like fall into place, and it's going to feel so amazing, and it's going to be worth it. And, you know, you get a lot of your time back. Like you got a taste of it. Yeah. So now you just got to like act on it.
Yeah. I'm excited for you. It's a whole new, because this is a new chapter in your business where it's like the growth chapter. You know, like you were hustling and grinding it out by yourself for 3 years and built this amazing brand. Like, you're killing it. You're killing it. And now I'm like, ooh,
you know what's
just imagine where else she could go.
She just actually started another company. So tell us about that.
I recently started an activewear company.
That's kind of something you've been wanting to do, right?
Going back to the bikinis.
Yeah. I think after this, I want to circle back to that, and it'll be like a full circle moment. But I literally live in athleisure because doing this, I sit at home, I'm like in athleisure. I go to the gym and then go pick leaves. I'm like wearing athleisure all the time. And I just wanted to create my own thing. And I feel like I since I'm young, I kind of know what my generation or whatever, what they like, and I don't know, I just had an idea and I just went with it. But I think after doing that, I realized that my passion is starting businesses and kind of growing it. I like the growing aspect of business.
I think one of our first guests, I think Gabe was someone talking about it. Like you just got to figure out what you are good at and what you enjoy doing, and then that's where you build that team to do the rest, right? So like I think Gabe was saying, like he likes, or he knows he's really good at starting things, and he loves that growing process as well, just like exactly what you said. But then he realized that because of some, you know, past failures, but then he realized that, and so the way he solved it was he found people that loved managing the rest of the company, right? So like he would take it to this point and then trust his people and hand it off, and so they would still be on. I was like, oh, that
Gabe was one of the first people too that like was telling me about SOPs. I was like, what's a SOP? He is super good at that and documenting anytime there's like a new process or any kind of procedure. He's like SOP, and have this whole library. So he literally they have all the keys, like all the instructions that they need, so he can continue to build on the next thing. But okay, so that's exciting. So where did like the brand, like the inspiration come from? Is it related at all to
I don't think related, but I think it's just something that I'm passionate about maybe. But the activewear in this is
2 different beasts.
Yes. Oh my gosh. For this, my startup cost is pretty much zero. I just had to buy like the little materials that I need plus like the string and stuff, which is like less than $10, and it's just all time versus the activewear. I only did 1 drop, and the investment for that 1 drop is way more than I ever spent for this. And
but not as labor intensive once you get the.
But I kind of like the balance of both, actually. I recently went to a career fair, and I was like, anybody have any questions? And this little girl raised her hand, and she was like, how do you differentiate yourself, since activewear is like so, there's like so many companies. And I was like, wow, that's a good question. And I really haven't like thought, I mean, I didn't think, but honestly, I want to say, because majority of my customers are here in Hawaii, and I feel like Hawaii people just like supporting Hawaii people. I don't know, but
yeah,
I think I've had really good success with the activewear is from like the little community that we have here, or like the little community that I've built like with Cocokealohi, or just like friends and family. But
Lex was just talking about, it's not always about what you know, it's about who you know.
Oh, 100,000,000%.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's huge, and like I know you started a whole nother beast, and you're trying to manage both, and yeah, it's exciting to see everything that you're doing.
That's crazy to me that you don't have anybody helping you, that you're just grinding it out on your own.
Every time I talk to her, I'm just like, read the email. Read the email.
Oh, I started reading it.
Yes. That's like the book I recommend everyone. Like Kolby is my business mentor, and like she talked me through all of that, the systems, and it changed your life. It's a lot of work. Like you sit down and you think about literally everything that you do, but like it's so worth it.
Yeah, that's like the unsexy part of running a business.
Like a lot of people don't realize that, you know, like they see the business, like you're blowing up, you see all the orders coming in, but then they don't realize that you're out at 2 a.m. trying to find leaves, you know, or like weaving in a closet, or, you know, like doing all these things. So it's like, it's running a business is not easy. So congrats on all that success. What's next for these 2 companies right now? Or for you? What's next for you? Besides building this team and writing down your systems. Just kidding.
Well, actually, eventually I want to get to a point where I can hire my family, because I feel like each family member has a different strong suit. Like my mom is really into like plants, and like she likes to sew, and my dad is like very creative. He's a graphic designer. Like, but each person just has like strong suits, and I feel like if I create businesses, I can hire them for like
their strength.
Yeah.
Well, your dad's entrepreneurial spirit just got handed down to you.
Like my goal, I want to say, is I want to open like a coffee shop kind of thing, but have a space in the back where I can host workshops for these guys. But I just want it like super clean, like a lot of plants, like just a space where people can come and like chill, hang out, but then they can also learn new skills, and I can also bring other people where they can do workshops. And I feel like that would be like my end goal.
You just gotta plant a bunch of trees somewhere, and then like coconut trees, your own product, and then
it'll be in the middle of a coconut forest.
Coconut
tree forest. We're gonna cut that reel one day when you do open your coffee shop, and be like, remember this day when you told us that you wanted to open a coffee shop.
Yeah.
That's huge though, because then you'd be creating that space for people to come in, learn, and then also have good coffee. We always kind of talk about this in other episodes too, but like all of our guests, right, they're in different stages of their lives, whether they just had a kid, or they're building another business, or they're trying to grow theirs, or still learning. You know, like what advice would you give to someone like kind of in your situation right now, where still, like Kolby mentioned earlier, like still in their 9-to-5 job, you know, trying to like still do their side hustle? Like what advice would you give them?
Stay consistent, and I don't know, just work hard.
Yeah.
Because there was many times where I was like, I can't do this anymore, like the long nights and the early mornings, and I feel like if you want it bad enough, you're gonna do everything to kind of make it happen.
It's such a balance, right? Because it's like we live in this Instagram age where things come so quickly and you can get success like boom, like 10,000 more followers after one reel, you know, but also like things come fast, but then people might expect fast results all the time. Where it's like the foundation of how you started this was like grinding it out every single day.
How can people find you and order and, you know, book a workshop?
Everything is Cocokealohi, Instagram, TikTok. Website is cocokealohi.com. And yeah, all my information is pretty much on my website. So if you want to book a workshop, my email and contact information is on my website.
Nice.
How did you come up with the name?
So Kealohi is my middle name, and then I was like Coco for coconut, and I just merged it. But honestly, when I thought of it, I was like, it's not gonna stick. I'll just change it when I want to change it later. And I think because I didn't think it fit, but I think I grew into it, grew into the name, and it just stuck, and I was like, I can't change it.
Yeah. It's a great name. Cocokealohi. All right. Thank you so much for being on and sharing your story. Sharing your story. It's very exciting to see like how far you've come in just a short amount of time.
And it's still just the beginning. I think like, it's crazy to see everything that's been going on. So we're excited to see what's next. We're excited to see the journey, and thank you for being on. Our next episode with you will be in your coffee shop.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
Bye.
Bye.